Alrighty. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Happy Tuesday morning. Oh man, it's a weird and interesting day around the NFL. Obviously, we all seen the news that Buffalo, moving on from Sean McDermott. And look, I'm gonna be honest. I think Buffalo just set themselves back 10 years. Look, that it was Sean McDermott really the problem in Buffalo? I don't really know. Also, we have news that we'll talk about Robert Saleh probably getting inked to the Tennessee Titans as their new head coach. And then, of course, we have over here. I spoiled the surprise. We do have the Lions grading Detroit Lions hiring of offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. Now, the name is super close right there that unfortunately I've already wasted the nickname the Potato on John Morton. So we can't call him Drew the Potato Petzing. However, I think the nickname Little Spud is pretty fitting for the guy here. So the Lions hired Little Spud to come in. And I understand where everybody's coming from. But I think I think we can qualm some reasons and look to understand why we went this route. Yes, I am wearing my hoodie under my headphones for right now because I am cold. It is very, very cold here in Michigan. 7 degrees right now. Not so warm. So those of you guys in the warm weather climates, hopefully you're enjoying it. Full disclosure, I am totally cooked. I am fried. I am absolutely cooked in the brain. It's been an absolute horror show the past few weeks at work, and I'm just cooked. So if I seem a little out of it or not really full force, well, you know why. You know why. We are need to take a little from the work. But we will talk about that over here. I was thinking Mr. Potato Head. Little Spud is good. Yeah, Mom, that's the thing. I was going to call him, the Drew Potato Pinsky with the potato head there looks so good. Unfortunately, I already burned that nickname. Wasted it, just like we wasted the offensive coordinator position this last year on Johnny Moe's screens. Johnny, don't throw the screen, Johnny Moe. So we're just going to call Drew Little Spud. Little Spud kicking around. If you guys could, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, hey, there'll be no show tomorrow. I got an interview, and I want to be prepped and ready for that. So no show tomorrow morning. Want to be focused on that. Sorry, this week is just a cluster. There'll be no 4 p.m. uploads all week. It's just been a nightmare. So we'll limp through it. But things and stuff and things. Like, share, subscribe, all the stuff. Let's do showtime.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Oh, hell yeah, Rick, you gonna be a busy guy. Yep, no show tomorrow, y'all. Got wannabe. I just need to be focused. You know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff. So, over here, our leads. Story of the day. Bills fire coach Sean McDermott after 9 seasons. No Super Bowls. You know, I don't think Buffalo is the team that wants to be making Super Bowl victories the requirement to have a job there. Not really known for your Super Bowl victories, are we, Buffalo? Awful high watermark that you guys have not ever achieved. So the Buffalo Bills fired head coach Sean McDermott on Monday after another season that failed to end in a Super Bowl. Oh, nice little cliche or a little asterisk there. No appearances. Okay. Well, Buffalo, if you're going to say that Super Bowl appearances are the requirement, well then yes, he failed to meet your franchise's standard of Super Bowl appearances. But the team did promote Brandon Beane to president of football operations. Sean has done an admirable job of leading our football team the past 9 seasons. But I feel we are in need of a new structure within our leadership to give this organization the best opportunity to take our team to the next level. We owe that to our players and to Bills Mafia. Said owner Terry Pegula. Well, you're a fucking idiot, dude. You're a fucking moron. The Bills lost 33-30 to the Denver Broncos in overtime of the AFC divisional round, marking another year of falling short in the playoffs. It was the 4th time in 5 seasons the Bills exited in the divisional round. But at least you are a perennial Pro Bowl team, or a Super Bowl contending team, with a MVP candidate on at quarterback year in and year out. McDermott leaves Buffalo with a 98-50 record and an 8-8 mark in the postseason, including 2 AFC Championship losses to the Chiefs in 2020 and 2024. So he's, unfortunately a victim of the NFL insulating, protecting, and promoting Patrick Mahomes while he was ascending. He no longer gets that treatment, and I imagine that Patrick Mahomes will be a little bit protected for the first few weeks returning from the knee injury. However, look, guys, I'm going to be very honest. The NFL has shifted its love affair. I watched it. I heard it. The Rams and Bears game, right? The NFL no longer has anointed Patrick Mahomes as their beautiful little blessed baby boy. If you heard the way Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth, I mean, it was hard to understand 90% of what they were saying because they just couldn't take Caleb Williams' dick out of their mouth long enough to actually enunciate things. But oh my God, you'd have thought that Patrick Mahomes was a fucking retard throwing left-handed or shitting balls out of his ass in comparison to the holiness that is Giggle Willie. I mean, my Lord. Now, to be honest, Caleb Williams is one of the more inaccurate passers in the NFL. Not only does he miss a lot, but he misses by a fucking country mile. And what's hilarious is he misses at the exact same magnitude of overthrows and just grossly inaccurate passes as, say, a J.J. McCarthy. But since Giggle Willie has been anointed the holier-than-thou golden boy, obviously he gets pat. I was waiting when he threw that just absolutely insane interception in overtime where Cameron Curl, dude, he was reading you from the jump. Literally. All he did was mirror Giggle Willie's eyes, dude. And I was waiting. I mean, look, if you're going to say that every time Giggle Williams wipes his own ass on his own, that it is a fucking actual miracle that needs to be looked at by the Vatican, right? Then you also need to talk about how amazing his interceptions are that he throws, how beautiful his turnovers are. I mean, y'all, that goofy-ass little touchdown pass to Cole Kmet, where I'm not going to lie, Cole Kmet clearly shoved off from the defender, but hey, that's okay. When Giggle Willie's on the field, the refs are too busy looking at his sweet little ass or some shit to actually officiate the game. You know what I'm saying? But Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico both were like, this is one of the greatest passes in the history of the NFL playoffs. And I was like, really? Better than a play called The Catch? Better than a play called The Immaculate Reception? Yeah. I don't think we are watching. What we're seeing is both societally and now in the NFL, same screen, 2 movies situation, dude. Because I don't see it. Am I just a jaded Bears fan? I do not see why everyone's like, oh, Giggle Willie is the greatest thing since sex on a scooter. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it. I just do not see it. McDermott, back to the article, won 5 consecutive AFC East titles from 2020 to 24, finishing second at 12-5 behind the New England Patriots this season. Sean helped change the mindset of the organization and was instrumental in the Bills becoming a perennial playoff team. I respect all the work and loyalty and attention to detail he has shown for his team and community. McDermott issued his own statement to the NFL Network on Monday, thanking the Bills organization and his fans. I'm not going to read it. McDermott could emerge as a head coaching candidate. Really? Huh. You think? You think a guy who put together a 98-50 record over 10 years is going to be considered a head coaching candidate? Yeah. No shit. Next, I'm going to read that, who do we got writing this article? Oh, there you go. There she is. Next, she's going to tell me that water is wet. Did you guys know that Sean McDermott would be considered a top-end coaching candidate? Really? Huh. Well, wow. That's a groundbreaking. Just. This is the problem, dude, is like I read something so just unbelievably dumb, and it just shuts me down on the whole article. Well, I'm not. Why? What is the point of reading this when it's like, yeah, no shit, dumb. So anyway, the Tennessee Titans are expected to hire 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh as their head coach. What? Man, there must be something fucking wrong with me, yo. What are you guys talking about Caleb Williams, yo? Follow Hat on X. Thank you, Brandy. I appreciate it. Yeah, check me out on X, y'all. It's not all football stuff. I'm not going to lie. If you want my little bit more of a social commentary on things, here's a place to do it. Caleb's was not throwing the ball to Komet. He was throwing it away. It just didn't get out of Komet. Saved it there. Yeah, dude, exactly. What's up, Cody, you twos? Morning, everyone. Bears were insanely lucky this year. Had ridiculous amounts of lucky turnover and throw. Dude, and Cody, that's what everybody is like failing to see. Is like, well, they had the most comeback. Nah, dude, they got really fucking lucky. And they still got swept by us. So, you know. Put that in your ass and smoke it, Ben Johnson. You butthole. Ben Johnson's a butthole, dude. In fact, if I'm being honest, the biggest issue I have with the Lions hiring Lil Spud is that he went to Ben Johnson's wedding. So it's kind of like, can you trust Lil Spud? Or is Lil Spud going to follow suit with Benedict Arnold Osama Ben Johnson, the trader in the Windy City, who has a small peepee? You know? I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll get to it, though. We'll get to it. This is obviously a throwaway. They glazed the hell out. Dude, Rick, right. Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, that's what I mean when I say Giggle Willie could wipe his ass and they'd be like, I've never seen anyone wipe their shit pipe with such precision and such just absolute high-end performance. Ass wiping will never be the same, nor will we ever see another ass wiper like we've seen with Giggle Willie. Oh my God. Look at him wipe his ass. Oh, he can wipe his ass, and it's so great. Let us all applaud and tell Giggle Willie how great he is that he can wipe his own ass. It is so impressive. It just drives me up the fucking nut. What's up, Judas Mazaway? Is that how you pronounce it? I'd get my left nut to get Ben Johnson's back, honestly. I mean, Judas, I get what you're saying, dude, but like at this point, fuck Ben Johnson, dude. He's such a traitorous bastard that you can't trust him, dude. You can't trust him because Dennis Allen straight up said in a press conference, I talked to Ben Johnson in November. He asked me if I wanted to be the defensive coordinator of Chicago. In November, Ben Johnson was already unofficially the Chicago Bears' next head coach. You know what I'm saying? That's fucking tampering. That's collusion. That's bullshit. So fuck Ben Johnson. He's a fucking coward. He's a fucking snake in the grass. He's a turncoat, dude. There is a special place in hell for fucking cowards and what is it? What is it? Turncoats and thieves or something like that? Turncoats and liars. There's a special circle of hell for them or something like that, dude. Yeah. So that's not fingernail polish. No, dude, Rick, that's exactly what I've been trying to tell people. It's not fingernail polish. It's poop. He's smearing poop on his fingers, dude. Lions had a better offense than the Bears. Why miss Ben Johnson? Yeah, dude. It's, well, I'm late. Better late than never, unless it's your first day at work. Hell yeah, Mr. Fig. Good to see you, bro. Hopefully you had a good weekend, dude. Ben Johnson definitely threw that Redskins game. He was trying to show off. Yeah, Cody, exactly, dude. Faggotry. Exactly, Judas. Faggotry, nonsense, dildockery, fuckery afoot. There's just a bunch of nonsense, faggotry, and fuckery, dude. That's all it is. It's just fuckery. It's just fuckery and faggotry all around. It's fake and gay. Ben Johnson is fake and gay. Gun guy, what up, dude? Last 14 quarters in the NFL playoffs as an offensive play caller. Oh, yeah. Oh, shout out, gun guy. This has nothing to do with what you just said, but it reminded me of something. This has absolutely nothing to do with what you said, but it reminded me of something. So shout out, gun guy. Yeah, Mr. Figs, Caleb Pooh Williams. Woohoo! Wait, that's a Pillsbury Doughboy. Oh, bother. I'm going to go and pick my honey. Fucking giggle, Williams. Trick plays did not create, not a single one of them. Dude, yeah, so, all right, gun guy. Ben Johnson's last 14 quarters of playoffs as an offensive play caller, 6 turnovers on downs, 2 lost fumbles, 8 interceptions, 1-3 record, outscored 35 points. That's Ben Johnson. Yes, dude. So, yeah, Derek, he was at BJ's wedding. Yeah, so Lil Spud, that's why I don't trust him, because he was at Ben Johnson's wedding, dude. That's why I'm a little hesitant about him. But we got to trust him. We'll get to Lil Spud. Real quick, though, gun guy. I had this realization watching the Bears game. They showed a statistic that, like, this playoff season, the Bears went for it like 10 or 11 times on 4th down, and it was a historically bad conversion rate. And I was like, y'all, everyone was all on Dan's nuts. Everyone was on... Talk about perfect fucking Zoom time, dude. Wow. That was like absolutely perfect. Everyone was on Dan's nuts for going for it on 4th down. And then we've seen a drastic drop off in how often we were going for it on 4th down this year, right? Y'all, is it too far-fetched to think that, like, Ben Johnson was the driving force for us going for it on 4th down so much? Maybe Dan didn't want to do it. Maybe Ben was trying to overinflate his offensive numbers because, just like I've been saying, with the turnovers we were getting on offense, we were stealing possessions. We were extending possessions by going for it on 4th down. So yes, 2 years ago, the 24 season, we had a historically good offense. We also had a historic amount of possessions that allowed Ben Johnson to overinflate his numbers. It could be said that Ben Johnson, based on how he coached in Chicago, was the driving force for us going on 4th down. Did the Jets go for it nearly as much on 4th down? Because we're talking about 2 head coaches, both in their first years, stemming from the same coaching tree that should have the similar kind of mentality to their offensive and aggressive approach. No, what you actually seen was Ben Johnson leaving, the Jets playing Jets football, which is just trash no matter how you look at it, and Dan Campbell kicking more field goals, punting more often, not going for it as much on 4th down. You know what I'm saying? There's only 2 people who were at my wedding and I still talk to today. One of them was my bride. Hell yeah, Rick. We had our offensive line this year. I don't think Ben would have done that much better than MCDC this year. Shout out, Cody. That is 100% true, dude. Our offensive line sucked donkey shit, bro. Small PP, Ben didn't trust his D. And the thing is, Mr. Figs, what's fucked up, this shows you how incompetent Ben Johnson is, right? Because outside of DJ Moore, right, you got Giggle Willie, Colston Loveland, Roma Dunze, Kyle Manungai. You paid really cheap for DeAndre Swift. You got Darnell Wright. So 5 guys, we'll remove DeAndre Swift because he's just on a cheap contract. 5 guys on offense, right, who are all on rookie scale contracts. So what do you do when you have specifically a quarterback on a rookie scale contract? you spend money on defense, which is what they did. The Bears had a relatively good defense this year because they were able to go and shit out a ton of money on that defense. The toll will come due eventually, and sooner rather than later. They're not going to have enough money to spend on all of these luxury pieces. You know what I'm saying? So Ben Johnson squandered his opportunity by not trusting his defense that his general manager specifically went out and paid a prime dollar amount for individual players to come in. Grady Jarrett, Tremaine Edmonds, you know what I'm saying? Fucking, they went out and they got these guys. Unfortunately, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you know. They paid high-end money because you have that high-end flexibility, Montez Sweat, when you have all of these offensive weapons on rookie scale contracts. I will say Swift looked way better this year than in past. Cody, I will give you that, dude. Swift did look a lot better this year than in years past, which I actually kind of thought that Ben Johnson was going to squander him again, you know. Would have been nice, Ben. Yeah, dude. F the Bears. 100%. 100%. 100%. God damn it. So I'm trying this new position for my microphone, so it's not like right up in my face. But the problem is I can't see the time. Can you guys still hear me okay if the microphone's right here? Because my audio levels say that you can. Can you guys still see me okay or hear me okay if the microphones are here? Because I'm trying to still be able to see the clock on my screen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the Titans are probably going to be hiring Robert Saleh. Sounds like they're finalizing the deal for Robert Saleh to become the Titans' next head coach, which we're not going to get too much into the weeds of it. I think this is a really good fit. I think Robert Saleh had a bad organization in New York. I think New York has a dumpster fire of a front office. They don't know how to allocate resources properly to bring in good talent that coaches. I think they override coaching decisions, and we've seen that with Robert Saleh. Obviously, the NFL thinks he's a high enough pedigree coach that just 1 year removed, he is now getting another opportunity. Why does Tennessee fit? Well, that rookie scale contract, baby, they can go out and buy players. Now, I do think Cam Ward is a talented quarterback. I can understand why he went number one, you know. If you were to put him in a more stacked quarterback class, probably not the first overall pick, right? If you were to stack him up against like a Joe Burrow or a Drake May, I don't think he necessarily hits as high. However, Tennessee, you know, you got Tony Pollard. They got some spots. The tight end's pretty good. Go out and get yourself a top-end wide receiver one or draft a wide receiver one. You know what I'm saying? There are pieces on defense that can play well for you. I do think Robert Saleh can have a better than not success rate in Tennessee. Do I think it's going to be next year Tennessee is going to win the South? No. I do expect Tennessee to finish over 500 next year, though. When I see what Tennessee is doing, they're kind of going to be mimicking what the Houston Texans have been doing. Yeah, now obviously it's not a one-to-one comparison, but similar approach. They're going to spend money. They're going to get some guys, and they're going to be a little bit. I'm telling you guys right now, Tennessee is going to be an upstart team next year under Robert Saleh in his first year. Robert Saleh, if things go moderately successful for the Tennessee Titans, Robert Saleh will be a Coach of the Year candidate next year. Mark, I mean that's just. I mean, I don't think that's too far-fetched to assume. Now there is the narrative, of course, of Cam Ward running into the sophomore slump, obviously. But you know what? Again, you pair him with get yourself a running back, get yourself. I had said early on that David Montgomery would be a good fit for Tennessee, but they did spend a little bit of prime rate for Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a very exceptional running back, though. Given the opportunities, Tennessee will be just fine. How do we feel about that, guys? How do you guys feel about Robert Saleh? And honestly, with the hiring of Robert Saleh, it brings up the question: why did you ever get rid of Mike Vrabel? You're hiring the same style of coach, dude. Why'd you get rid of Mike Vrabel? Who's gonna, in his first year? And, okay, this opens up another conversation. Mike Vrabel, and this isn't to take away from what New England has done all year. They're gonna walk to the Super Bowl, right? They're gonna sleepwalk their way through the Jarrett Stidham-led Denver Broncos, right? in his first year, Mike Vrabel's going to take the New England Patriots to a Super Bowl appearance. So why did you do that, Tennessee? Why? What were you thinking? Former coach of the year. Had you guys in the playoffs. The GM is the fucking problem there, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. Bears had an easy schedule. Yes! Mr. Detroit City, yes. And yeah, dude, Swift got rocked near the goal line. Jack, you were 100% right, dude. Swift got rocked. And he's supposed to be a little bit more of a power-based, low-end torque kind of guy, and he couldn't get her done, dude. Ward's injured too. Yeah, dude. I smell just fine. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. From 15-2, number 1 seed to 11-6, number 2 seed Ben had a down year compared to when he was a Lion. Goff made Ben Johnson. There you go, dude. You guys are seeing how good Jared Goff really was. Nashville turns into Dearborn, 100%, dude. Dude, yeah, Beantown, bro. I'm gonna be honest, dude. I was rooting for Houston to win the Patriots game. I like C.J. Stroud. I like Will Anderson Jr. But I'm not mad. I'm actually more disappointed now that Bo Nix broke his ankle, and it will be just kind of like not an asterisk, but people will grandma wagon New England and their legitimacy of being the representative to the AFC because of the catastrophic injury to Bo Nix. You know what I mean? Now, I'm going to be honest. I think New England was going to handle business with Denver. I really did think New England was just going to walk in and punch Denver right in the fucking mouth. So I don't think that there is a actual credible argument to grandma wagon Denver versus New England with or without Bo Nix. It just opens the door for that conversation to be had. But yeah, personally, I think Drake May and the New England Patriots are just going to come in and punch Bo Nix right in his fucking mouth, dude. I'm pretty sure that's what was going to happen. I think we're going to get a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, dude. I think we're going to get a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl. I would like to see a Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl just because I think it would be hilarious for Sam Darnold to do this. I really do. I mean, you guys remember, I said Minnesota made a big fucking mistake letting Sam Darnold go and roll with J.J. McCarthy. And we see the results. It's going to end up sinking Kevin O'Connell's career, dude. Vrabel was let go because Tennessee has a sensitive ownership and thought he was too aggressive. I live down here and the papers ripped them when he got fired. No shit, Art. Hell yeah. What's up, Michael Daniel 1661? They may be saving money. Yep. Pretty much running QB will be injured. That's why I don't consider mobile QBs that high. If they scramble and slide, fine. Yeah. So Cody, this is why I get so high on Jackson Fart and Dart. He does need to learn to slide better, but I like the pocket presence quarterback. I'm a pocket quarterback guy. You know, I love me some Jared Goff, but I like having the physical upside of like a Jackson Fart and Dart. A individual who has athleticism in their skill set, but you don't think of as a mobile quarterback. Does that make sense? Someone who can, but doesn't do it. That's not their default. You know what I'm saying? Drew Pretzel assaulted with knowledge. Judas. Bro, that's fucking funny, dude. Flat out, that's fucking funny, dude. That's straight up funny. Yo! Detroit Sports Talk. What's up, dude? How you been, bro? Good to see you, man. Holy shit, brother. I know I'm not live on Sundays, dude, so I never see you, bro. How you been, man? Good to see you, dude. Legit. It's classic New England walking to the Super Bowl. Remember when Brady was at the helm? Hart, you're not wrong. Remember when Foles came in and won the Super Bowl for the Eagles? Hell yeah, Jay. Y'all remember when Bobby Boucher showed up halftime at the Bourbon Bowl and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl? Yeah, well, Cody, I agree with you. Fart and Dart is not going to make it at this rate. That's because Jackson Fart and Dart seems to think he is Cam Scatabo and went to the Hendon Hooker School of sliding head first. He needs to learn how to do that Patrick Mahomes slide 6 yards away, and then wherever you stop is where they say you stopped. Did you just Tua with those gang signs? Yeah, dude, I threw me up a fencing. And that could be, y'all. Yo, the other day, Sunday, I went to the range, and I was loading shit in my truck, dude. I headbutted I headbutted my truck so fucking hard. I rocked that motherfucker, dude. Like, I was like seeing stars, dude. Even for me, I was like, damn, dude. I just hit the fuck out of that, dude. Legit. Been taking care of my family, celebrating my grandma's 100th year old birthday this upcoming weekend. Dude, Detroit Sports Talk. That's fucking awesome, bro. Hell yeah, dude. Yo, from Hat and Beard, from all of us here at Grandma's Studio One, dude. Me and Hat and Boobs and all the animals, and from Mad Hatter Nation, dude. Seriously, a big fucking 100th year happy birthday to your grandma. That's fucking dope, dude. That's dope. That is super fun. Yo, legit, happy birthday to your grandma, dude, from all of us. Seriously, dude, that is fucking cool, bro. That is fucking cool. All right, guys, let's talk about Lil Spud. Got a little article over here about Lil Spud. All right, before we get into the article, if you follow me over on Twitter, you kind of seen my takes on it, so make sure you follow me on Twitter. Initially, I was like, what the fuck is this, right? Guys, you guys that have been here from the beginning know that I've been calling for Mike McDaniel since the day Ben Johnson left, right? And I think you guys could pick up on how high I was on Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka was my guy. That was the guy I thought we should hire. Probably going to get an opportunity for a head coach. By all accounts, Dan Campbell has a lot of respect for Mike McDaniel, but after meeting with him, just viewed it not as the right fit, right? And obviously, we will never know what was said behind closed doors, right? But if you listen to what Dan said at his end-of-season press conference, Dan Campbell said he wanted to get back to the way we conducted ourselves in, was it 23 or 24, when we made our run to the NFC Championship game. That tough nose, that gritty, that running the ball, right? And I think what you're going to end up finding is a handful, if not all of the guys that they interviewed and didn't hire, were probably a little more in love with Amon-Ra and J-Mo and how to use Gibbs in the passing game like we've seen at the back end of the year, and Laporta and Goff, and how we could go and be this high-octane, high-flying, goofiest show on grass, 5,000-plus yards, 50 touchdowns for Goff offense. And ultimately, I don't think that's what Dan Campbell wanted to do. So he interviews Lil Spud. Lil Spud comes in and says, statistically, outside of last year, where I was absolutely decimated with injuries along my offensive line, quarterback, wide receiver room, and all of my running backs, I had a top 5 and a top 10 rushing attack in the NFL. This last year, I had the lowest rushing attempts in the NFL because, well, our team was trash. We were consistently playing from behind, and my quarterback room was a dumpster fire. I don't know how much blame goes on Lil Spud for the failure of Kyler Murray. It seems to be rather evident. Cliff Kingsbury couldn't make it work. Lil Spud couldn't make it work. I don't think Kyler Murray is an NFL caliber quarterback. Jacoby Brissett outplayed him. That ain't nothing to take away from Jacoby Brissett. Personally, I like Jacoby Brissett. I think it's hilarious that he's out there still playing, still crushing it, beating out the young first-round pick, Kyler Murray. I understand the hesitation, though, okay? Because Lil Spud, I'm not like shitting my pants excited over this. I'm not like, oh yeah, we got the guy I wanted. I wanted Mike Kafka. I thought Mike Kafka has exactly a perfect blend of what we want to do and can also lend himself to the passing game. You end up hearing the information, though. They weren't too wild about McDaniel. You can probably rinse and repeat with everybody else that they interviewed. They interviewed Lil Spud. They liked Lil Spud. Lil Spud had a one-on-one conversation with Jared Goff. Now, Mad Hatter Nation, We have been talking about how we are pretty sure Jared Goff was going to have a lot of input, or should have a lot of input, in the hiring of the next offensive coordinator. Now, I can sit here and tell you all of these things about how it's a relatively solid hire and how we should give it time and we need to be calm. I could give you the Johnny Moe screens and blow a bunch of smoke up your ass, right? I'm not willing to do that. I'm going to tell you exactly the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is, despite everything Dan Campbell has done for the Detroit Lions, despite the historic turnaround, despite the leadership that he has done, Dan Campbell has now gone through, this will be his 4th offensive coordinator. Anthony Lynn, Ben Johnson, the Spud, and now, the Potato, and now Lil Spud. One of them has been a success. Anthony Lynn didn't even make it out of his first year. John Morton had his play calling duties pulled away from him midway through his first year. Ben Johnson was, by all accounts, a success, who ended up getting a head coaching job and led his team to a divisional round in his first year, winning the division. You can't deny that. That is the reality of the situation. So Dan Campbell says, I want I want an offensive coordinator who goes under center and who runs the ball, because that is what I do. That is the mentality that I want to put in this team. Okay, fair. Do it, Dan. However, you have to understand that this is now your 4th offensive coordinator. If this does not work, you just hired your career anchor. And unfortunately, the NFL is a business. Look at Sean McDermott, look at John Morton, look at Mike Tomlin. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, championships matter. If this year, or if this upcoming season, 2026 NFL season, follows suit of what we just witnessed, bad offensive play calling, mismanagement of your assets on offense, mismanagement, terrible decisions, phasing out David Montgomery, an obsession with the screen game, then clearly there needs to be an addressment of the man in charge, because unfortunately we do have to have a conversation of, does Dan Campbell actually know what he is doing? And I'm the biggest Dan Campbell fan in the world. However, the NFL is a business, and you just hired your anchor. It will either sink you or you will succeed. Regardless of how it goes, that is the reality of the situation. You just hired your anchor. How do we feel about that, Mad Hatter Nation, before we read this article? How are you guys feeling? Kyler is a coach. Yes! Kyler Murray is a coach killer. Exactly. Morton was passing coordinator. Drew all of us in the run game and getting tight ends involved. Monty better be staying now. Dude, exactly, dude. That's peeking the brain looking motherfucker. Dan probably told McDaniel, yeah, I love Goff, and I'm thinking about bringing in Tua as a backup. Mike said, you have got to be fucking kidding me, and walked out of the room. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, man, torpedo head. Yeah, dude, Bobby Stark, dude. Doesn't he look like a torpedo head, dude? Mr. Potato Head looking ass motherfucker. Shout out to the Pistons, man. Those guys have been hoping first place in the Eastern Conference. Hell yeah, dude. Shout out Detroit basketball. Let's go, dude. All mobile quarterbacks are coach killers. You're picking it. You guys are seeing it now, right? What did I say when John Harbaugh got fired, y'all? I said that the biggest hindrance from John Harbaugh getting back to another Super Bowl was Scary Sparkle Spice. You can't win Super Bowls with Scary Sparkle Spice style quarterbacks. Did Michael Vick ever win a Super Bowl with his mobile quarterback bullshit? Hell no. Did Scary Sparkle Spice ever win a Super Bowl with his mobile quarterback nonsense? Hell no. Is Kyler Murray going to do it? Hell the fuck no. Sean Payton hired Johnny Moe in about 5 seconds. Yeah, I seen that, dude. It was fucking ridiculous. I know, Rick C still has a winning winning record as our head coach. I know, dude, but there needs to be some type of either assessment of who is on the hiring committee, because if it now, I am saying all of this about the anchor, right? About Lil Spud being the anchor to prepare us if then statements. If it doesn't, then this is the route you need to go. You guys want my honest opinion? After looking at it, I fucking like the hire. I get it. It makes sense. And I also think this allows us to bring in some of the offensive line pieces, possibly from Arizona, Evan Brown or Froholt, or even like Jonah Williams as a backup tackle type position. I do think that Lil Spud unlocks Demo. I said it on Twitter. Look, with Lil Spud's offensive approach to quarterback under center, heavy sets. You're going to see Sam Laporta have a monster year. Look at Trey McBride. You're going to see Gibbs rush for over 2,000. I'm telling you that right now, Jahmyr Gibbs will be the rushing title. He will be the rushing king next year. He might win the Triple Crown next year. You know what I'm saying? Touchdowns, yardage, and averages per carry. David Montgomery is also going to follow suit with 1,000 yards and 10-plus touchdowns, if this works the way that it should. And I do think this is going to work the way that it should. There are two variables. There is the Ben Johnson connection, and he could be a turncoat. Also, he could, like everybody does, fall in love with our wide receiver weapons. Mobile quarterbacks was the only way to win, though. Yeah, gun guy, that's what they tell you, isn't it? That's what they tell you, dude. But the proof is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? Johnny Moe is easygoing and congenial. People like him, and that's why he got hired. He's not threatening. Dude, American boxer. He's an Johnny the Potato Morton was an HR hire. He was the HR recommended candidate. Very vanilla, not gonna just do yes. Oh, yes, Mr. Candy. Whatever you say, Master Candy. You know what I'm saying? If Laporte is healthy, he might go nuts this year. And Cody, that's the conversation that I was kind of having with the chat early on, pre-show. I am a little worried because back injuries are always very finicky things, right? I do not like the tight ends that we have down line of Sam Laporta. I would like to think Sam Laporta is going to return rip, roaring, rocking, ready to go. But injuries are especially back injuries, are very fickle. So we need to make a move to bring in another guy. Obviously, this guy historically likes to run two tight end sets. There are going to be weapons that are out there. Unfortunately, one of the best targets that we could go after is fucking Cole Kmet. Do I like that? Hell the fuck no, I don't. You know what we should do? See what it's going to take to get Michael Mayer out of Las Vegas. Then we can have two young, solid tight ends. I don't think paying for Cole Kmet what he'll want is what we should be doing, but we are going to need somebody other than Block Wrong to be in there playing that tight end 2 spot, let alone if something happens to Sam Laporta. You know what I mean? I wanted us to draft Spencer Hawes last year in the 6th round, and he had a relatively successful season in Buffalo. You know what I mean? We could be farther ahead, but if then grandma wagon. You know what I'm saying? Say what you want about the run-first QBs. The teams in the playoffs have been QBs that can stand in the pocket, take hits, and deliver the ball accurately. The eyeball tests don't lie. Beantown, and that's the thing, dude. They don't want you to believe their lying eyes. They don't want you to believe your lying eyes. Why was it that when assholes met elbows, the mobile quarterback wasn't able to get it done in the divisional round of the overtime game, but your LA old man gunslinger was able to pull it off? Because the old gunslinger doesn't think, worst case scenario, I'm just going to dip out. You know what I'm saying? No, dude. They're going to have multiple different variations of plans. They're going to map out where it's all going to go. They already know 6 different plays the defense is going to be running at them. They're already diagnosing it. Whereas somebody like a Scary Sparkle Spice or a Giggle Willie, they're just like, fuck it, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it, I'm out. You know, and it's fun and it's flashy. It's also selfish. It isn't football is the ultimate team sport. Richard is a free agent. We finally get a fullback instead of using our bum backup tight ends to block. Mr. Detroit City. I fucking hope we get a real traditional fullback, dude. Get that I formation. Twin tight ends. Fucking I formation with Amon-Ra split out wide. Run him in motion to read your defense. And then just fucking pummel him, dude. Move Hassanin to fullback. Move Giovanni Manu to fullback. I don't give a flying fuck. I want a hammer back there. I need somebody to clone Corey Schlesinger. That's what I fucking need. Oh, shit, Rick. Hopefully that was okay, dude. Sorry about your phone call, dude. Froedholt could be a cap casualty from the Cards and land in Detroit to help. See, Jack? You're seeing it, dude. I was like, Froedholt, it's not a long-term solution, but he's better than Graham Glasgow. I want Monty at fullback. Well, you know, dude, if Goff does what he does as a field general, Drew is hopefully going to get Goff to see and understand how to use Montgomery and Gibbs to psych the defense out of their socks while JMO down the hell yeah, dude. And that was the thing, guys. Remember early on in training camp, we were hearing all about how we were running both running backs on the field. So we were running 2 running back sets and shit out of shotgun. Where was that? Where was Monty and Gibbs on the field at the same time? We seen very little of that, and it ended up kind of biting us in the ass. Well, we got about 15 minutes here, guys. Let's, we were talking about injuries. Well, hang on. All right, guys. So here you go. I found video evidence of how Lil Spud got hired. So here you go. Check it out. This is the surveillance footage from the Meyer Performance Center of how it all shook out, how Lil Spud got hired.
Finally decided after a lot of deliberation on Robert California for the manager position.
Mike McDaniel.
Who took one look around and left. He drove down to Florida and convinced Joe to make him CEO. CEO. Her own job. He talked her out of her own job, and I don't really know how someone does that. But anyway, then the position was his to fill, and he chose...
Drew.
It's unbelievable.
True, I may have been the second choice.
That's how they hired Lil Spud, yo. Oh, shit, that's how they hired Lil Spud. I should make a short out of that, dude. All right, guys, so we were talking about injuries, okay? And we're going to wrap up today watching a Flemlo video. You guys know me. I fucking love Flemlo. Oh, hey, shout out. I don't know if you guys can see this over in the corner. Do any of you own a PSA Dagger Saber yet? Or a Saber Dagger, whatever it is, the Saber line of the PSA Dagger? And if so, what do you think about it? Because I think I've pretty much funneled myself down to becoming a Palmetto State fanboy. And, you know, I know there are some issues here or there with the ergonomic, not the ergonomics, but the full-on operating system of the Dagger. But look, dude, you can get a lot of good deals on Daggers and PSA ARs and shit like that. And then they came out with the Saber line of the Dagger, which is like basically a Glock Gen 5 with all of the mods already on it for sub $1,000. So what do you guys think? Do any of you own it? And if so, what do you think about it, dude? Because, you know, as much as I want the Hellcat, I don't know if I'm really willing to pay that price to entry. Anyway, so check this out. Shout out Flemlo Raps. He came out with this video. It's called The Dark Side of NFL Retirement is Worse Than You Think. I don't know how to exactly describe how monumentally powerful this video is that he made. It is very enlightening. And just shines a light on a little known aspect. What happens to players sans retirement? You know what I'm saying? So we're going to just go ahead and watch this Flemlo Raps video. Let's be honest, McDaniel was just a pipe dream. There's too many head coach spots open. Rick, exactly, dude. That's exactly it, dude. I was just navel gazing and mental masturbating over Mike McDaniel being our offensive coordinator. It was never going to happen, dude. He's too high end, too many head coach jobs available for him to do that. Because what's the worst that could happen? He loses another head coaching job and then he just becomes an offensive coordinator someplace else. The reality is it was a pipe dream. Hire a yoga instructor in the offseason. Yes, dude. Y'all remember when they were all hype about Reggie Bush, who started doing yoga back when he was with the Saints and like was avoiding all of these catastrophic injuries? And they're like, "How are you doing this?" And he's like, "I'm flexible. I maintain flexibility." All right, so here we go. Check this out. Boom.
To us, this is just a single pin stroke. But for some retired NFL players, this single flick of the wrist can send them down a path some don't come back from.
I came to the conclusion that there was nothing else to do except end my miserable life.
And I found myself on the railroad tracks in 2011 trying to keep myself in Medgar.
I need help, and I need help now, and I'm going to kill myself on Sunday.
The NFL purposely, maliciously caused great harm to us, using their tactics of delay, deny, and hope that I put a through my head to end their problem.
I was taking roughly 80 pills a day. I was doing this because my life had been consumed by pain ever since I retired from the NFL.
15 Norco, just to get me out there.
That's why I smoke my weed, so I can be calm and I can be, kind of painless for a moment.
There was a time when being drafted into the NFL was actually seen as no big deal. Matter of fact, the world's first Heisman winner and NFL draftee turned down a chance to play in the league.
Unlike today, the 1974 draft started with few spectators.
But then time passed, TV deals got signed, team names and logos got embedded in the culture, and what was once seen as a job that you might turn down became the dream job for American boys.
I've worked my entire life to be up here, to be able to get my name called.
By the 70s, players like Randy Grimes spent all day dreaming of a moment like this. And they'd lived this dream for 3 to 5 years, or if you're lucky like Randy, maybe even longer.
Randy Grimes, who is a 10-year veteran of the NFL, played center for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
But no matter how long a dream lasts, the core principle of dreams is that eventually you gotta wake up. Some players woke up to a sobering reality, but it turned out they was the lucky ones. The less lucky ones woke up from their dreams straight into a nightmare, bro.
It was like somebody's just whacking my kneecap, just whacking it every time my heart beats.
He pushed that morphine button. He would just like hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it.
Damn. Open the thing up.
After having every word they ever said placed under a microscope, leading up to and during their playing days, now all of a sudden, nobody can hear them, and it doesn't seem to matter how loud they scream. According to a study published by the National Library of Medicine, up to 90% of former...
Hey, Judas, I agree with you, dude. I do agree with you that everyone who plays ball knows the risks. I do agree with you, and I'm in that camp. But what you're going to see here is he's going to show how... on the back end, how kind of like corrupt the NFL is. And they'll show it here kind of how like they manipulate the data so that guys can't get their insurance and shit like that.
NFL players report ongoing pain after retirement. About 70% of them describe that pain as, quote, moderate to severe. But those terms can have a dehumanizing effect, as the brain can't really process what they actually mean. What it means is that the pain can range from interfering with your concentration all the way up to completely incapacitating a person to the point where they can't even perform basic functions like maybe getting up, maybe sitting down, or something simple as putting on a shirt. Daily pain at this level slowly taxes the brain. Your patience thins and your temper flares. Your nervous system stays on high alert, flooding the body with stress hormones until rest no longer feels like rest. And when sleep becomes shallow, fatigue
Don't I fucking know that
permanent.
shit.
So the brain starts to change. The parts of you that dreamed, imagined, and hoped, those parts start to die. And it all builds on each other, because once that happens, it sets the stage for an even bigger problem. Without dopamine, humans can't feel motivated or look forward to future reward. Dopamine increases in the brain when a reward is expected, which leads to a conundrum summed up with one question. What happens when all you can logically expect is more pain tomorrow and the day after that?
I was being denied from the NFL for trying to get my benefits because your body hurts so bad.
Here.
And I found myself on the railroad tracks in 2011 trying to keep
Pay
myself
attention to this
in
shit.
Metairie.
Former Saints tight end Boo Williams has been to the darkest sides of NFL retirement. An undrafted player back in 2001, he scratched and clawed his way up to a roster spot. His biggest moment as a pro came in his third season. At 24 years old, he had a breakout game. It was October 23rd, 2003, the only time he ever got over 10 targets in a game. On his 12 targets, Boo Williams caught 9 passes for 110 yards and a touchdown. He finished that season with 41 catches, 436 yards, and 5 scores. It seemed like he was peaking at the perfect time. At 24, he was poised to have another 4 or 6 years in the league, and it was a good chance he had his best years all ahead of him.
Oh my goodness.
But the following season would be his last. Dude was already struggling with chronic neck and back pain, even going way back then. According to him, he knew he needed surgery.
I know I have to have surgery on my neck. I know I have to have surgery on my back. I knew this years ago while I was playing.
He didn't give a reason as to why he didn't get surgery back then, but if you follow the league, it's not hard to guess why. As an undrafted player who is fighting for a spot every year, a neck and back surgery is gonna shut you down for an extended period of time. And he was likely advised to wait until after his playing days, or at least after he got a nice contract. When you're an undrafted player in the NFL, generational wealth is right around the corner. Although most players in that situation never actually make that turn. So he pushed the surgery off to a later day. But that day would never come. And this is where the pin stroke we talked about in the opener comes into play. All right, check this out. Boo Williams' fight with the NFL claim system started all the way back in 2009. This was 3 years after his final snap with the New Orleans Saints. Even though he was well within the 5-year coverage period, he would quickly find out that things wasn't that simple. He applied for the line of duty disability benefits, so the NFL assigned an orthopedic doctor to evaluate him. Now, these league assigned doctors use a system called WPI, whole person impairment. They use the system to determine who does and who doesn't actually qualify for benefits. In order to qualify, your WPI has to be at 25% or higher. Keep that in mind. 25%. It's super important to what's coming up. After his appointment, the doctor placed Boo's WPI at 27%. That was high enough to qualify for about $2,400 a month in benefits. Probably not enough to handle what he really needed handled, but at the time, Boo felt like at least it's something. But then a couple weeks later, they sent Dude an addendum. Apparently, the doctor spoke to the NFL's disability plan director who, quote, suggested that Boo's upper body rating be reduced from 12% down to 6%. I mean, he literally suggested they cut it in half. Now, the doctor who examined him saw it as 12%, but some dude on the phone apparently knew better. Then the doctor treated this suggestion more like an order or command or a mandate. He got Boo Williams' file, then pulled out a pen. He crossed out 4 numbers and reduced them all. And this reduction dropped his overall WPI from a 27 to a 24, 1 point below the qualifying number. A few strokes of the pen erased his eligibility and sent him down a 15-year path of unnecessary pain. Thanks to those pen strokes, he suffered from crippling depression, which culminated in him laying on railroad tracks. But is there something malicious going on here? Or is this whole thing just one big coincidence? In 2023, 10 retired players, including guys like Willis McGahee and Charles Sims, filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL. One of the most powerful claims made by the lawyers in the case was that there was evidence that showed that despite the fact that these doctors were said to be neutral parties, there was actually a direct correlation between how much the doctor got paid by the league and the number of denials that they handed out. Only thing definitive that's been decided as of now is that the player's allegations are plausible enough to be investigated further and potentially tried in court. Here's the evidence they presented to try to prove their case. Doctors who got paid $86,000 or less found that 20% of the players they checked qualified for the highest benefits. Doctors who got paid $190,000 found that only 4% of the players they checked actually qualified for the highest benefits. And doctors who got paid $250K or more, so the ones that was really balling, they found that 0% of players qualified for the highest level.
Isn't that interesting?
Now, I guess you could read that a couple of ways. Some people might say, well, the higher paid doctors are better and therefore have a higher standard when they're checking, and that's an opinion you can hold. But the same way, that's a fair opinion to hold. Another super fair way to interpret this data is that the less money you approve to go out, the more money the league ended up paying you. So no matter how you feel about that, there's some evidence to suggest that financial relationships could be influencing the medical results. And specifically looking at a case like Boo Williams, that takeaway seems to be the most likely. Across a lot of insurance and disability systems, the company paying the benefits also chooses and pays all the doctors who decide whether or not someone qualifies. So this is not uniquely an NFL problem. It's a conflict of interest that's built right into the very fabric of insurance companies.
If their policy clearly covers them against
I don't want to know about their coverage, Bob. Don't tell me about their coverage. Tell me how you're keeping Insuracare in the black. Tell me how that's possible with you writing checks to every Harry Hardluck and Sally Sob story that gives you a phone call.
But while some players get flat out denied, even ones who might qualify for some coverage still end up running into a problem. For them, the insurance doctors ain't the only opponent. They also have to fight against the clock. When you retire from the league, a countdown starts. That's 5 years of health insurance. Continued medical support is only available for players who meet specific thresholds. One threshold is having at least 3 vested seasons. 3 seasons where you was on the active roster, injured reserve, or the pup list. If you just practiced all year or got injured in camp, that season ain't vested and it don't count. But if, and that's if, you get enough vested seasons, this puts a little more time on your 5-year clock. But it doesn't guarantee you anything really, except the opportunity to keep playing against the toughest opponent you've ever had to face. On average, an NFL player ends up with about 6 to 8 years of league-related coverage, but most of their worst issues don't actually show up until around 10 years post-retirement. Once the coverage ends and the chronic pain continues, or in some cases even worsens, players then forced to take pain management into their own hands. And that's when it gets bad. Now some players, Boo Williams for example, use marijuana, which he smokes every day. And much of the world is starting to catch up to the benefits and lack of significant downsides that are associated with this option. Not only is it considered a cheaper option long-term than high-grade pain pills, but it also doesn't carry the same overdose risk or addiction risk as some of the other options. But as we know, the NFL not only frowns on marijuana, they offer severe punishments for positive tests. Now that might not seem like it's really relevant since we're literally
Josh
talking
Gordon
about
could have been one of the
retired
fucking
players.
all-time
But if it's not
greats,
making
dude.
sense yet, just hear me out for a second and you'll see why it was important for me to point that out. Before 2019, when the NFL was still derailing careers over marijuana tests, they were instead giving players copious amounts of a way more dangerous and addictive pain-killing option. So a lot of the opioid addictions we see post-career kicked off when players were in the league, because this is what team doctors was giving these dudes to manage their pain, creating a bigger problem. Former NFL players misuse painkillers and alcohol at higher rates than everybody else, and this is especially among those players who experience chronic pain. Back in 1999, backup Ray Lucas was the starting quarterback for the New York Jets. One time he got hot, and over a 3-game stretch, dude passed for 743 yards, 8 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. The Jets went 2-1 over that stretch. I mean, this was one of dude's highest moments. But one of his lowest moments was when he woke up post-retirement and had to punch his legs awake because of nerve damage in his back. Things like this would eventually lead Ray Lucas down a long rabbit hole of pain. Now he experiences this every day of his life. I mean, day after day, the pain just never stops. For years, he was unable to get the surgeries that he needed, due once again to insurance limitations. And during that time, bro, his pain only worsened. It sent him all the way down the dark path of addiction.
I went from 125 Vicodin to 600 Vicodin to 1400 Vicodin to 1600 Vicodin a month. So this whole section right here, I was taking 80 a day. That whole section right there would be dead right now. Right in this moment, they would be dead. This is not a game, ladies and gentlemen.
A little over a decade ago, he finally got his fusion surgery that he desperately needed. In the surgery, they removed this from his neck. Then they had to fuse his vertebrae together. Some complications arose because it took so long, making the procedure more difficult and more risky. There's a bunch of variables at play when it comes to this stuff, but time can throw its weight around much better than most. The long wait periods have a tendency to send the players deeper and deeper into addiction, and by the time they actually get the procedures they need, they have to deal with the pain at 100%.
So if I take a pill today, you'll never see me again.
This is Randy Grimes, a 2nd-round pick from 1983. Back then, they say practice was as bad as the game. Like many players back then, Randy got his body beat up so bad, and during the season, you never could recover because the coaches didn't know how to manage players' bodies. So Randy's injuries began to stack, one on another. Kept getting worse. And on top of that, he's an offensive lineman, the most selfless group on the whole team. So no matter how beat up dude's body would feel, he would do anything to get back out there. This included taking 45 pills every single day to numb his pain. He quickly got addicted and ended up playing the latter years of his career in complete blackout. So then when he retires, the pain is still there, the need to manage the pain is still there, and the addiction's still there. And now he ain't really got nowhere he gotta be. So what you think happened? The addiction got worse. When he finally got treatment at 50 years old, just like Ray Lucas, because he was an addict, he had to deal with that post-surgery pain with no pain pills, and it was not pretty.
He pushed that morphine button. He would just like hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone in so much pain.
Damn.
These players will likely live with chronic pain, honestly, for the rest of their lives. And I ain't making this video to make you depressed. I like to deal with the real. I ain't about to sugarcoat it. But at the same time, I accept the reality, then dig even deeper and find the hope. For both Ray Lucas and Randy Grimes, back in the day, they both got connected with a nonprofit called PAST, which stands for Pro Athlete Support in Transition. The group helped former players navigate life after football, especially with mental health and addiction issues. They even made this documentary called Casualties of the Gridiron, where a lot of footage from this video originally comes from. Ironically, PAST no longer exists today, but those who they helped get back on their feet have picked up the baton, tripped over the first hurdle, but then got their foot in and started the sprint. Today, Randy spends his time helping people who struggle with pain and addiction. He started a company called Athletes in Recovery, a venture that's been extremely successful. They offer confidential, free peer-to-peer support for athletes and others in the recovery journey. They assist with navigating the process of finding both treatment and aftercare options as well. They even provide financial assistance to help facilitate all of those things. So that's what's up. Today, Ray Lucas is an analyst who's won an Emmy and is actually a really good public speaker who warns against the dangers of addiction and how it can be brought on through our love of sports. Both of these dudes deal with pain on the daily, and both have come back from depths so low that they actually consider taking their own lives. As human beings, bro, we got a lot of problems, but at the end of the day, we was made in God's image. And even in our fallen state, bro, traits like resilience can shine their way even through the darkest of depths. But what about the guy who went way past just thinking it? The guy who went way past just planning it out? I mean, it's cool that Randy and Ray found their way out the darkness, but what about Boo Williams? Rest had eluded Boo Williams for years on end. He was tired, but sleep couldn't heal his fatigue. So he walked down to the railroad tracks with intentions of taking one final nap. He laid his 6'4" frame across the tracks. He asked God to take care of his kids and family. Then he dozed off or maybe passed out with intentions of awakening in the afterlife. And after a couple of days, he thought he was there.
And I just find myself being tugged and pulled up, and I open my eyes and I see these silhouettes. I'm thinking, okay, I'm there already. I've been missing for a few days, or don't know how many. It was 2 homeless people that saved me. And not to mention, it was homeless people that I've given clothes to before. They were pulling me up and they was telling me, Boo, get up. It didn't dawn to me that they knew my name. They were train jumpers that jumped trains from state to state. I really came to and looked at them. What are you doing on the tracks? They let me know who they were, and they told them that they were wearing the clothes that I gave them a couple weeks ago. So what is the odds of that happening at that moment? Being a 6'5" guy, but feeling like you're 4 foot nothing is something that you really have to, I was learning how to deal with. I was trying to find out not just who I was inside, but what was my purpose on this planet? Because I knew that I had some type of purpose, but I didn't know what it was.
I believe that you had a divine intervention that was to spur you onto your purpose that you're doing now. You're one of the leaders that ex-players look to when they are in trouble.
When I started this project, I just happened to come across the beginning of the stories of these 3 men. But it wasn't until I was deep into the research that I started to see what became of them. It actually shocked me that all 3 men who've gone deep on the dark side of NFL retirement miraculously climbed their way out of it. By the end of the story, that wasn't what shocked me the most. What shocked me the most was what they did next.
Because if I save one of you today,
I work with with athletes and judges and teachers. And
I just can't sit by and continue to let them do this to other people.
But how'd they go from not having energy to live on to having spare energy to lift others as well? I was pleasantly surprised to find another common thread beyond the NFL, beyond the pain. All three have some type of relationship with God. Ray's seen saying grace in the documentary. Randy's wife mentions on their website how she had to step aside and let God back into her husband's life, which was a major key in overcoming his addiction. Boo Williams believes he had a divine encounter when he was pulled off the train tracks shortly after giving up. Once that relationship was mended, each of these men found their way out of a trap that most don't come back from.
I'm standing here, 80 a day, still here. The man upstairs got a purpose for me.
Through God, they all found something essential, a sense of purpose, a reason to go on, despite how difficult things might get. Today, they all walk with a brand new purpose, a brand new swag, and a brand new life. So if you're down, depressed, addicted, in pain, consider following the steps of these three cats. Build a relationship with God as He's the foundation that gives you purpose, which gives you access to a brand new strength that you probably never knew you had access to. Another thing I noticed is that they all found community, with Randy and Ray actually finding each other. Boo moved to a small town where he has relationships with the local restaurant owners, the police, firemen. So that's another thing, bro. Community is a big one. NFL retirement can be a dark place for some guys, but you don't need to be a retired NFL player to sometimes find yourself out in the dark. Let these three be an example of how you can come back, reignite that spark, and shine brightly again. Alright fellas, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I've been thinking about this one since the CTE joint, because not all post-NFL problems are CTE related, which by the way is why I really didn't mention that in this video. But if you want to check that one out, man, click the link on the screen. Don't forget to like the video.
Boom. Alright guys, what do you think about that? Pretty good shit, huh? Fucking Flemlo out here crushing it with another video, dude. I fucking love that guy, dude. I've been watching Flemlo raps for like shit before 2020, dude. I was back when he would have the whatever happened to. He used to do these great documentaries on former players and shit. So it's good shit. It's good shit. Flemlo out here crushing it, doing good things, guys. So that's gonna be it for today. I appreciate each and every one of you who tuned in, hung out, managed to chat, subscribe to the channel, dropped a like, or shared this around. It's the best way to get us to grow. Again, we'll be off tomorrow. I do have an interview. Gotta focus on that. No 4 p.m. uploads this week. Got to stabilize the head game a little bit here. So appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow. No, Thursday at 10 o'clock. Actually, this is some pretty good shit. Grew it myself. Hell yeah. Nice, Rick. Nice. Beautiful. All right, guys. Stay out of trouble. Until Thursday, I've been Hat and Beard. You've been Attentive Audience. We'll see you then. Bonga bonga. Frig off.